All right, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for my updated NBA draft big board. Prospects 1 all the way down to 30. I'm giving you all the top guys coming up in this 2019 NBA draft. But before I get there, I got to ask you guys a question. Who are your top 5 prospects in this year's draft? 1 through 5, give them to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to start out with number 1. There should be no debate. If you don't have him number 1, you're probably crazy or don't really know basketball. It's Zion Williamson. He's an elite athlete. He's actually a really good ball handler for his size. He's got some work to do on the jumper, but in all reality, that's going to come along. As a spot-up shooter, he's really not that bad. Actually, 33% from 3. I think the shot's going to come around. Not too worried about it. He can play defense better than just about anybody in this draft, whether it's down low in the post or even defending on the perimeter and chasing a guy off the ball, whatever it may be. Zion Williamson is going to do it for you. And of course, he's going to be ending up on the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, you see this lineup, there's a lot of unfamiliar faces in New Orleans because this is what it could look like if an Anthony Davis trade goes down between them and the Los Angeles Lakers. And all of a sudden, you run a backcourt of Lonzo Ball and Drew Holiday, Brandon Ingram there at the small forward position, and Zion Williamson is your stud power forward, 23 points per game at Duke last season. And then I got Julius Randle in there filling in at center, even though he is a restricted free agent. We'll see what he does this summer. Now, number 2, the top point guard in the draft, he is the second best player. I don't care what anybody else says. He is the second best player in this draft. His shot is a little bit streaky, but overall, it was pretty solid over at Murray State, where he averaged 25 points and 10 assists per game. The only collegiate basketball player to do that, not to mention 5 rebounds per game from this guy as well. He is a triple-double threat. He's got the elite athleticism. There you have it right there, 5.7 rebounds, nearly 6. He's 6'3", 175 pounds. He's got a slight frame, so defense could be a problem at the next level. But I'm not too worried about it. Shouldn't pass up on him if he's available at number 2, which he should be. But number 3, the other guy from Duke, RJ Barrett. Great finisher around the rim. Nifty ball handling skills. He's got a good mid-range game. Now, the three-point jumper has been off and on. It needs to improve for sure if he wants to be a go-to option in the NBA. But what's really important is that this guy makes game-winning plays. Now, Zion Williamson, he was the guy. Zion was the guy at Duke. But the game was on the line. RJ Barrett knew when it was time to take over. He is the 3rd best prospect in this draft. He averaged 22.6 points per game at Duke. Love RJ Barrett. Number 4, Texas Tech product, Jarrett Culver. The guy can put the ball in the basket. He can create his own shot. He's a great finisher around the rim. He shoots, but he makes a lot of tough mid-range shots. He kind of forces himself into some situations he doesn't need to be in, but he is a bit inconsistent from 3. He shot really well his freshman year, and then not so well his sophomore season, but he's a versatile defender. That might be the most attractive thing about Jarrett Culver, is he can guard almost 4 positions on the court. Now, what's really impressive about this guy is his improvement from freshman to sophomore year. Freshman year didn't have a lot of responsibilities at Tech, 11.2 points per game, 5 rebounds, nearly 2 assists, but the 38.2% from 3 is something I'll talk about here in just a second. 19 points per game in his sophomore season, along with 6 rebounds and nearly 3.7 assists there at Tech. But 3-point percentage dipped at 30.4% because he had to shoulder the load a little bit more. But since he could show that he could shoot 38% from 3 in his freshman year, I'm not too worried about that 3-point shot. One guy that's not worried about his 3-point shot is DeAndre Hunter. Arguably the best shooter in this draft, definitely the best shooter within this top 5, and also arguably can make the case for the best defender. Now, Jarrett Culver, I think, has that locked up in the top 5, but DeAndre Hunter could get there eventually. Now, he's older. He might have a low ceiling, but at number 5, you can't pass up on this guy because he's the best shooter up top. I really love DeAndre Hunter out of UVA, and he's a champion, a proven winner at the University of Virginia. So again, you can see my top 5 right here. Zion number 1 and Ja Morant number 2 should be no debate. You can make the case for Jarrett Culver at 3, but right now I got RJ Barrett, followed by Culver at 4 and DeAndre Hunter at 5. But which wing do you think is going to be better in the NBA? I want you to type it down below. If you think it's Jarrett Culver, type JC, and if you think it's DeAndre Hunter out of the University of Virginia, type DH. Which one's going to be better at the next level? Next set of guys here in my NBA draft big board. Darius Garland At 6 out of Vanderbilt. Of course, tore his meniscus, missed most of that freshman season, but still a great prospect in this draft. Cam Reddish in at number 7, one of the most polarizing players in this draft, has huge boomer bust potential out of Duke. Jackson Hayes, rim protecting big man. I'm really high on this guy, an incredible wingspan. He's going to prove to be a nice value pick for somebody. Got him in at 8. At number 9, it's Bol Bol. I talk about him every time, talk about his slim measurements, 208 pounds. If the dude doesn't add weight, he's going to be a bust. But if he lives up to his potential, number 9 on this big board is perfect for him. And then at number 10, the guy with the biggest hair in the NBA draft this year, it's Coby White out of North Carolina. Got him listed right now as a point guard, but you can also put him in at shooting guard. So let's talk about him just a little bit more. Now, he only had his measurements taken at the NBA Combine, and then he left. People are thinking he's probably going to be taken between picks number 5 or picks number 9. So a kind of a wide range there within the top 10. But at the next level, Coby White could play either the point guard position or the shooting guard. I'm really interested to see where a team slots him in. But I truly believe on the right team, this guy's a starting point guard. And you can see what he did at North Carolina this past season. 16.1 points per game, 4 assists, nearly 4 boards, and then the 35.3% from 3 actually really stood out to me. Did not expect to see that from him in his game. But he's not right now. He's not the top point guard. Of course, John Morant has that position locked up, but it could be a battle between him or Coby White. Him or Darius Garland, excuse me. And you can see now Darius Garland's sample size is very limited. He only played in the 4-5 technically games for Vanderbilt. Both averaged 16 points per game. Now, Coby White had the edge in assists per game. And then the three-point percentage is pretty skewed from Garland, but obviously he has the edge there. The thing I like better about Coby White is his ability to pass the ball, his ability to make plays for others. The thing I like about Darius Garland is he has a better ability to score the ball. So it's kind of up for what you like out of your point guard. If you'd rather have Darius Garland or Coby White. If you want a scorer, take Darius Garland, even though Coby White can score. If you want a great passer, take Coby White, even though Darius Garland can also pass. So it's up to you guys. Type DG if you'd rather have Darius Garland in this year's draft. Type CW, Coby White, if you'd rather have him in the 2019 NBA draft. Now, numbers 11 through 15 on my big board starts out with the top international prospect, Sekou Doumbouya. If you haven't heard that name by now, you haven't been watching our show here on Chat Sports. Number 12, the high flyer out of Gonzaga, Brandon Clark. Love this guy. Can't shoot. Got to get that improved if he's going to be a stretch 4 at the next level. At number 13, Rui Hachimura from Gonzaga as well. We got 2 Bulldogs going back to back in my big board. At 14, PJ Washington really stepped it up this past season. I love him. I think he will be a great value pick for somebody in the lottery. Also ready to play right now. Kevin Porter Jr., a great athlete, has some off-the-court issues that he's going to have to figure out. That's why I'm not putting him within the top 14, but I do have him there at number 15 out of USC. Now let's circle back around to Rui Hachimura. He will be the first Japanese-born player to be drafted in the NBA draft this year. Now, where he goes, that's still a question mark. I think he's the 13th best player on the board. And really, he can score from anywhere. He can post up. He's got a good mid-range shot. And then 42% nearly from the beyond the three-point arc. Now, that's a bit skewed because he didn't take a lot per game, but when he was asked to, he could knock him down. Minnesota Timberwolves, they've been linked to this guy. They really like him. They have a lottery pick. Wouldn't be surprised to see that as his floor. And you can see what he did this past season at Gonzaga. I mean, it's incredible. 19.7 points per game and 6.5 boards. He's not a great rebounder for a big man, but he'll get that around. I believe in him. He's a strong dude. 41.7% from beyond the three-point arc, as I mentioned earlier. And the field goal percentage at 59.1. He is an efficient guy. So let's look at the other Japanese-born players that have played in the NBA. Now, really, there's only those 2, and then Rui Hachimura. You see, Yuta Tabuse, I might have butchered that name, but he played 4 games for the Phoenix Suns. Only scored 1.8 points per game. Might be because he was 5'9". Yuta Watanabe, he plays for the Grizzlies right now. He's averaging 2.6 points per game. He's in and out of the G League, but the guy made it. That's great. And then Rui Hachimura, 19.7 points per game at Gonzaga. We'll see what he can do in the NBA, but he is going to make history no matter what. I'm really excited to watch him at the next level. Now, number 16 through 20, we're getting outside the top half of my big board, and it starts out with Nasir Little at 16. This guy was underutilized by Roy Williams at North Carolina. I believe he will be a great pick for somebody in this draft. I have him there at 16. Number 17, Goga Bitadze out of Georgia. Don't worry, we'll circle back around to this dude pretty soon. Romeo Langford out of Indiana at number 18 needs to develop a jump shot, but getting to the rim and that first step is super quick for Langford. And then 19 and 20, I've got Matisse Thybulle, one of my favorite prospects. He is a sleeper in this draft. Mark my words, save this video, watch it back when he is a top defensive wing within the near future in the NBA. It's going to be great. And then Grant Williams is shooting up draft boards out of Tennessee. I didn't love him at first, but after these workouts he's been having for NBA teams, Grant Williams is going to be a pretty nice player in the NBA. So let's talk about Goga Bitadze, another international prospect here. I've got him up at number 17. He's 19 years old. I did not look like that at 19 years old, I'll tell you that much. This guy is big, he's ready for the NBA, and he won the Rising Star Trophy in 2018-2019. He's a stretch 5, he can protect the rim, and he can finish around the rim as well. He's actually a really good athlete, which might surprise some people when you see him step onto a court because he is so big. But that Rising Star Award, I mean, it was in the EuroLeague. Jimmy, why the heck does that matter? Well, look at the guys that have won it in the past. Pretty notable names, notable faces if you pay attention to basketball. Luka Doncic, Rookie of the Year, 2016 all the way through 2018. He won it twice over in the EuroLeague. Bogdan Bogdanovic, a great role player for the Kings, could be in the starting 5, in and out. We'll see what happens with him, but he won it twice as well over there. And then Ricky Rubio, we'll see where he ends up next season. Played point guard for the Jazz, and you know, not the best of these three players. He's had his ups and downs, but he still won the award in 2010. Look, Sekou Doumbouya, man, I butchered that name for the first time in a while. Sekou Doumbouya is the top international prospect in this draft. But there's also guys like Goga Bitadze, Luka Samanic, there's a few others. But who do you think will be the best international prospect this year coming out of the draft? Let me know in the comment section. Now, let's go 21 through 25. But before I get here, I want to say something because 20 all the way down to 40 in this draft is wide open. I mean, just the talent level, it's just wide open, but this is what I got 21 through 25. At 21, Nikhil Alexander Walker out of Virginia Tech. I really like this guy. That's why I have him just at the top here. Cameron Johnson, an upperclassman out of North Carolina, a sharp shooter. He's going to develop nicely for some team. Also could be a 3-and-D type player. Talen Horton-Tucker out of Iowa State has the most ridiculous height to wingspan ratio you have ever seen. He walks down the street, his fingertips are touching the cement. It's really weird to see on the court, but could help him at the next level. Carson Edwards out of Purdue had that incredible NCAA tournament run. Really could fall anywhere from the late first or early 20s all the way down to the mid-second round because of his size. He is an undersized point guard. And then Keldon Johnson in at 25, just kind of your basic everyday NBA wing, but he's out of Kentucky, so you know, Kentucky players in the NBA are not an abnormal thing. Now let's talk about the guy with too many names. Nikhil Alexander Walker. Believe it or not, he's the cousin of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, another guy with way too many names. He took on a lot of extra responsibilities at Virginia Tech this past season, and you know, it proved well for him. I mean, there were some injury bugs that he had to step in and really do more as a sophomore, and you know, it's gonna be a big reason he gets drafted in the first round. He's an above-average defender on the wings. And his height and wingspan measured out pretty nicely. 6'6", 6'10" wingspan. He's got to add a little bit of weight at just 204 pounds. But 16.2 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, and 4 assists as a sophomore. Quite the jump from his freshman season, as you can see right here. First year, just over 10 points per game, not dishing the ball at all, as he was just kind of a spot-up shooter. 39% from 3. Did his job as he was supposed to. But this sophomore season really stepped it up. 4 assists to 16 points. That's really big. He showed that he is a top playmaker potentially in this draft. And now I got a fun little question for you guys. Who's your favorite hyphenated named player in the NBA? Okay, because this year in the draft we got Talen Horton-Tucker and Nikhil Alexander. But in the NBA right now we already have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Dorian Finney-Smith, Keita Bates-Diop, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Karl Anthony Towns, Willie Cauley-Stein. There's a lot of them to choose from, so type it down in the comment section below. Now let's round out this big board with ranks number 26 all the way down to 30. At 26, I got the big man out of Maryland, Bruno Fernando. Could be a great value pick at the end of the first round. Luka Samanic out of Croatia. Watch out for this guy at the next level. Coming from overseas. Might be a couple years away from really producing for an NBA team, but watch out. Tyler Hero in at 28. I have him lower than a lot of people might have him on their big boards because He has horrible measurements. He's built like a box, and he can't play defense, okay? 29, Chuma Okeke tore his ACL, but could have great 3-and-D potential at the next level. He really showed out in his sophomore season, but end of the first round kind of guy. Daniel Gafford rounds out my NBA draft big board for the top 30. A springy guy that can protect the rim, great rebounder, and he's going to finish for you as well. Now, before we end this, I want to talk a little bit more about Bruno Fernando. Now, this latest ESPN mock draft has him going number 37 overall to the Dallas Mavericks, which is, you know, like I said, this 20 through 40 range is really just wide open. He has an incredible wingspan which helps him on the boards, and it also helps him protecting the rim. And actually, this guy's shown an ability to shoot from beyond the three-point arc. He's got the nice form. He doesn't take many, but if he's open, he really won't shy away from shooting it too often. You can see what he did at Maryland this past season. 13.6 points per game, all of that coming from around the rim for him at 60.7% field goal percentage. And then nearly 11 boards per game. He was a walking double-double that was going to block anything that came his way. And then, like I said, the three-point shooting is a nice little plus from your big man out of Maryland. That's my top 30 prospects, guys. You saw it, 1 through 30. If you hated it, let me know. If you loved it, let me know. Anything that you would change. But I want to know from you guys, who are you most excited to watch next season? Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett, John Morant, Matisse Thybulle, whoever it may be, let me know. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.